Hello, BookTube world. Welcome to La Rosa Reads. I'm Denise La Rosa, and today I will be sharing with all of you my February TBR. It is ambitious, but I think I got this. Let's talk books. I am in the mood for reading. When am I not in the mood for reading? But I hope you guys understand what I mean when I say that in the winter months, it's especially important to me that I carve out time to cozy up with a good book. I've even become a fan of weighted blankets, cozy sweaters like the one I have on today. I am just in the mood for reading, and because I'm in the mood for reading, I have a pretty ambitious TBR for the month of February. I am hoping I get to these books. I feel like if I don't get to these books, each book is really important to me and exciting for me. And so if I don't get to it in February, I definitely want to get to it at some point this year. First up on my TBR is a book by one of my now favorite writers, Tia Williams, and it is The Perfect Find. Tia Williams is the author of 7 Days in June. One of my first videos on BookTube definitely gave the spotlight to this book, 7 Days in June, that I cannot say enough wonderful things about. It is a romance novel that I highly recommended. I named it one of my surprise reads of 2021. And it was definitely one of those books that after reading it, even while I was reading it, I was like, I need more of Tia Williams' work. And so The Perfect Find actually was written by Tia Williams prior to 7 Days in June. And so I'm finding myself working my way back because a lot of people felt like she was new to the author world, to the author scene. And the reality is she's written some other books prior to 7 Days in June. This book has all of the things that I need in a romance novel right now. It's about a 40-something-year-old woman. I am 40. It's like this wonderful, sexy vibe, a career woman. And so on the back here, the synopsis states that Jenna Jones, 40-year-old former It Girl fashion editor, is broke and desperate for a second chance. When she's dumped by her longtime fiance and fired from Darling magazine, so drama and more drama, she's hired at an online fashion site by the publisher, her old arch nemesis, Darcy Vale. So some more drama. But Jenna soon realizes she's in over her head. She's working with digital savvy millennials half her age, has never been Twittered, and pretends to still be a fashion somebody while living a style lie. Oh my goodness. So worse, the 20-something videographer assigned to shoot her digital series is driving her crazy. Wildly sexy with a smile Jenna feels in her thighs. Hello. Eric Holmes is way off limits, but almost too delicious to resist. This book sounds too delicious to resist. Next up is a book that I've owned for quite some time and have not gotten around to. And as a director of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I am looking for inspiration right now. I'm at a place in my career in the school year because I work as director of DEI at a school where it's really the time for me to get inspired, reinvigorated, to continuously do this work with all that I have in me to give. And so this book by the late, great, legendary John Lewis is titled Carry On, Reflections for a New Generation. And so he wrote these words where he collected all of these thoughts towards the end of his life. And it's just full of words of wisdom. I love how it's formatted and laid out for us because it has subtopics around what I'm looking for as far as information. So as I flip through, I'm looking, there's a section on mentors, on heroes, just so many wonderful subsections that I feel like this book is not necessarily one that I need to read from front to back, that in any given moment of any given day, I can look through the table of contents we have on justice, on hope, on spirituality, on fear, on patience, on forgiveness, on happiness. So the reality for me is this may not necessarily be a book that I'll finish per se like in February. This might be a book that I'll continuously revisit time and time again at times where I really need inspiration and motivation to do the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and to just quite frankly experience life being a Black woman and getting inspired to just keep on keeping on. Next up is a book that I just discovered towards the end of 2021, and I am incredibly excited to read. I was a performer in another life. I was a singer, dancer, actress, songwriter, singer. I said singer already, but you get what I'm saying. I'm a huge lover of the performing arts. To this day, it's a part of who I am. And so this book is titled A Little Devil in America, Notes in Praise of Black Performance. This book is written by Hanif Abdurraqib. So what caught my eye is a Time article that was talking about how this book really uncovers the beauty of Black performance. And I'm not just talking about Black performance like Whitney Houston's Super Bowl performance of the national anthem. Yes, we have those key signature moments that are just forever ingrained in our minds and our spirits of professional performers. But he also talks about Black performance as it relates to just being Black and beautiful and proud. Moments when Black folks are performing, whenever they're playing cards, and when we're doing maybe like at a cookout. I don't know exactly the examples, but just those everyday moments of the Black experience where movement and singing and performing is embedded in those day-to-day lived experiences. I love being Black, and one of the things about being Black that's so beautiful is how we perform and what performance means to us. Everything from admiring professional performers to us singing in the church, to us doing just like I said, like performing and singing and dancing whenever you're winning in a game or your favorite team is winning. And so the way he writes, I hear, is just beautiful. It's just beautiful prose. It really is inspiring. It's enlightening. I cannot wait to read this book. Up next is a book that I have been really excited about reading. I picked it up from the library and I kind of wanted to dive into it in January. However, I really wanted to savor every single word in February just to go along with Black History Month and celebrating the late, great, incredible, inspirational Phillis Wheatley. The book is The Age of Phillis, written by one of my favorite authors, Honorée Fanonne Jeffers, who has written an incredible masterpiece known as The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. Now, prior to her writing the novel Love Songs, Honorée Fanonne Jeffers was known as a poet first and foremost. So The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois was actually her first novel. The Age of Phillis is so important for me to read, so near and dear to my heart even before I opened the book, because Phillis Wheatley is the very first African-American published author. I don't believe she was just the first African-American female published author. I believe she was the first African-American published author, period. And forgive me if that is not historically correct, but to the best of my memory as of this very moment, I believe that is the case. And so as someone who has written books myself, I have self-published 2 children's books, and someone who's a lover of the written word, of the experience of reading books, writing books, Miss Phillis Wheatley is someone that I celebrate and honor. And so to have both this wonderful figure that is being written about through prose and being written by one of my favorite authors, I just think is setting me up for an incredible reading experience. I cannot wait to dive in to The Age of Phillis. And can we just take a moment to recognize and honor this cover? There's so much to love here. I love the color blue, and I just love the vibes that I'm getting from looking at this book cover. It just makes me excited. Yay! All right, you guys, we're winding down. You see my stack behind me. It's getting lower and lower. So we're just trudging along. And next is My Monticello. I am so excited about this book. I'm so excited about all these books. So let me just stop saying that. Like, let's just dive in. So My Monticello is written by Jocelyn Nicole Johns. I really am curious about this book. I've heard so many wonderful things about this book. My understanding is that they are a collection. Well, this book is a collection of short stories. Someone that I know ran into me and was talking about how she's in the midst of reading this book and kind of argued with me about that. I said, "Oh yeah, I heard this is a collection of short stories." And she was like, "Really? I don't think so." And she just started. She was like about 30 pages in. So, not quite sure what's happening with My Monticello, but what I do know is that I am really curious about this era, about this topic. So I'm excited to dive into it, whether it's a collection of short stories or not. So the book is fiction. And just quickly, I wanted to let you know that this novella it's about a diverse group of Charlottesville neighbors fleeing violent white supremacists and seeking refuge in Jefferson's historic plantation home as they attempt to outlive a long foretold racial and environmental unraveling. So, whoa. That is a lot already just in that little short excerpt of the synopsis. I want to know if you've read this book. I'd love to hear from you. And this is also Diverse Spine's book selection for the February book club. So I'm all about it. I can't wait to engage in conversations about My Monticello. So February is Black History Month, and I am very intentional about celebrating Black authors and Black history throughout the year, and particularly in the month of February. So you will see all of the authors of all of these books that I have shared are Black. They identify as Black. And I think it's important, not just in the month of February, but if you're looking for an extra book challenge, I think it's especially important that you, for Black History Month, will grab a book about something taking place in Black history around your local area. I think it's so important for us to go beyond these national stories and really try to get to know what is happening or what has happened right in your neck of the woods. With that being said, I picked up from the library this book that I've been curious about and wanting to read for quite some time. I am a Pittsburgher, and so Sewickley is really close to where I live, and this book is titled African Americans in Sewickley Valley. I really, really, really want to know what this book is about, what I can learn from this book. And even though I don't live specifically in the Sewickley area, I live close enough that I feel like what I learned from this book will inform my lived experience right here where I live. So this book snuck up on me. You know those books that like weren't on your radar, you didn't even know they existed, and then all of a sudden, like, it's like creeping and like tapping on your shoulder, like, pay attention to me. See me? Pick me up. Read me. That sounds really weird. But my point is, this book was not on my radar. I didn't even know it existed. And towards the end of 2021, on Bookstagram, it was like blowing up my feed. Like all I was seeing was this book and people were raving about this book, taking some awesome pictures with the book. And the book is Razor Blade Tears, a novel by S.A. Cosby. I can tell you guys right now, this book is going to help me stretch as a reader. In my 2022 goals video, I expressed that I'm hoping to read more nonfiction and more thrillers and some romance. But this is a thriller, and I cannot wait to dive in. It's got so much going on. So this thriller is following two men, one Black man, one white man, who initially in the book do not know each other. However, their sons are lovers. And both men are not too happy about that. They're not supporters of gay relationships. They're homophobic, and they are not accepting of their son's relationship. Moving along, something tragic happens to the lovers. Something tragic happens to these two men's two sons. And that's what brings the Black man and the white man together. Interestingly enough, both fathers had served time in prison. and have that backstory that comes together with their anger and frustration and hurt by their son's murders. With those murders comes a motivation by their fathers to do right by their sons because they realized that they weren't really loving and accepting of them in their life. And now they want to honor them and do right by them in their death by finding out who committed this crime, who committed this murder, these murders, and making them pay for killing their sons, essentially. So they're on this quest. It brings them together. They're two men from two very different lived experiences. And my, oh my, y'all, we've got love, we've got crime, we've got murder, we've got, this quest to like make someone pay, which makes me feel there might be more murders. This is totally out of my comfort zone as far as the typical books I read. I wouldn't say it's out of my comfort zone that I wouldn't enjoy it or I feel like a little creeped out by it. But it's definitely not a genre or type of book that I would read. But it's got so many story elements that I really dig from other books, other genres that I read, that I think this is a great entry for me with a thriller for the year. So let's do this, y'all. Razorblade Tears is going to be a good one. Last but not least, I have a book that would not even be on my TBR if it wasn't for this in-person book club that I'm a member of. You guys, I highly encourage you to join a book club or a number of book clubs, whatever you can handle. Either way, you need to join at least one book club because it really pushes you to explore books that maybe you typically wouldn't even think about exploring. And so this is definitely one of those books. I am a member of an in-person book club that I find to be really, really cool. I love this group. I am excited for this book. I didn't even know this book existed. I don't typically read books about this topic, but man, oh man, I have a feeling this is going to be juicy. Yes, it is Madam, the biography of Polly Adler, icon of the jazz age. So Polly Adler was a madam. I don't know a thing in the world about Polly Adler, but what little bit I have uncovered about her, this book is going to be super, super juicy. Now, speaking of which, the book is awfully thick as well. There are a lot of pages. Ooh, I love it. I see some pictures. So we do have, I love it when books are broken up, like biographies, autobiographies are broken up with some wonderful images. I'm a visual learner. I love to have nice visuals to go along with the book, with the story. Oh, Lord, A Corpse of Vivian Gordon, Broadway Butterfly. Lord Jesus. Okay, moving along. So this book is going to help me learn not only about Polly Adler, but about the era that she lived and worked in and the folks that she worked for. Politicians, entertainers. I'm sure there will be a lot of names of individuals that I know of and have thought about in a certain kind of way and might be quite surprised to learn something new about them. I'm being a little politically correct, a little clean here, so I'm going to get all the dirt, all the tea. Even if it's decades and decades later, this sounds really, really, really interesting. I want to know, how did Polly Adler become a madam? What motivated her or led her to such a profession? What was that journey like while being in that profession? What were her thoughts about the work she was doing, the thoughts about the people around her? I really want to know, just like when I learn about politicians and, any figure, any individual, I want to get inside their heads and know what's motivating them to do the things they do, as opposed to just looking at them and making assumptions and judgments. No, I want to know, how you became the person you became. How did you end up doing the things you ended up doing? So I can't wait to read this. I better get started ASAP because we're going to be meeting. The book club is going to be meeting in the middle of the month. And I hope this is a fast read. I have a feeling it is a fast read. Debbie Applegate, I have not read any of her other works of history. She writes about history. She's a historian. So I'm also excited to learn about her as an author, like how she writes, and I'll probably end up picking up some more books by Debbie Applegate. Whew, Lordy, that is it, you guys. That is a mighty ambitious TBR. I have 8 books that I'm hoping to dive into, but I'm a realist and I believe in grace for the journey. I'm not going to judge myself or get upset with myself if I don't get to all 8 books. I definitely, however, plan to read all of them, hopefully at some point this year, because every single one of these books are books that I'm excited about and looking forward to reading, whether it's February or in the months to come. But wish me luck, you guys. I think I can do it. So I would love to hear from you. What's on your February TBR, my friends? Let me know by popping some thoughts in the comments below and staying in touch with me. I love you guys. I'm so thankful that you're taking the time to be with me, engage with me, listen to me, watch me, all the things, because I'm starting to feel like we're building a community. So until next time, happy reading, and we'll chat again soon.